think I'm finding a new voice. Now we use it.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Into the Westworld. This is our weekly Westworld review and recap show where we talk about all the things going on inside Ford's narrative. By the way, this is our third time trying to record this show. One of our co-hosts has had really faulty Wi-Fi. Anyways, I'm Griffin Schiller. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined by two lovely co-hosts, Mr. Zach Pope and Mr. Tyler Tompkins. Mr. Zach Pope, please introduce yourself. Hopefully Tyler hasn't lagged out again.
All right, so let me just get through my introduction real fast before he logs out. My name is Zach. This is the Westworld show. We are recapping episode 5, and this is going to be a ton of fun. We finally got Shogun.
Yes, we finally got Shogun. And if you have been listening to this podcast at any point in time, probably the past few weeks, you'll know that Tyler has usually done the introduction for this show. We did not have him do that this time because we knew that he was going to butcher the name. So we'll let the man introduce himself, but that's why you're not hearing from him first. So Tyler, say hello to everyone.
Yes, I'm Tyler. Thankfully, I don't have.
Oh my God!
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
This is going to be the running joke. This is going to be the running joke of the thing.
No more. I'm good. Thankfully, I'm not introducing this week because clearly we're having problems. But so far, so good. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, this was a pretty good episode. I literally just finished it.
Yes, well, good. Yeah, because you didn't get a chance to watch it last night, so we had to wait for you and such. But yes, we will be talking about episode 5, Akane No Mai. This is our introduction to Shogun World. And I think we can all universally say across the board that we all liked it. It was a solid episode. Maybe not the best episode of the season so far, but it was a really great introduction to this new park. And there were some subtle developments that went on, especially with Maeve's character. And then we finally got to see the confrontation between Dolores and Teddy. So, Tyler...
Yeah,
because
right
I'm
after sex too.
Right after sex. Just beautiful. So Tyler, I want to start with you because I'm afraid your Wi-Fi is going to cut out again. Give us your overall thoughts on the episode and like some of your favorite moments.
Yeah, me too. Okay, thank you. It didn't really go as like I thought it would. It wasn't really as action packed as I thought. I mean, there were some really good moments throughout the episode, but I don't know. I thought it was, I don't know. It's just kind of slower than I expected, but I still liked it. I didn't hate this episode. I thought it was much better than last week's. I know y'all liked it a lot, but
yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you there. But it's a good episode,
which I totally understand. But I really like. Akane, is that her name?
No. I think it was
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I think it was May, right? Because she's based off of Maeve.
Yeah. I thought she had like a Japanese. I can't remember her name, but yeah, I do like how they have their doppelgangers. That's pretty cool. We figured that out. But
yes, I do have something I want to say on that, but I'll get to that after you're finished.
Yeah, but I pretty much am. It just I liked seeing Maeve try to help her doppelganger save her daughter. I just thought that whole storyline was really cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. The parallels in there were really cool. And I'll get to my little thing in a second. But first, Zach, let's hear from you. What were your overall thoughts of the episode?
Overall thoughts, it was a nice introduction to this new world. We've been wanting this for pretty much since it got introduced at the end of the last season. And it was a nice introduction to it. There's those nice parallels that Tyler brought up. And I mean, you're probably going to talk about it too, how we see who Hector's parallel is and who we see Maeve's parallel is. It was very nice going back and forth with that. For me, though, the biggest standout was Maeve's storyline. Thandie Newton is such a fantastic actress.
Yeah, she's really,
so
really good. Yeah.
And it's not even just how she performs; it's her looks and her attitude that she gives on screen. It's just incredible. She is literally after this episode, she's my favorite character now. Like above everyone else. Like I am just I loved her. I love where they're taking her character right now. And also, I mean, I loved seeing what we had with Teddy and Dolores. That's Teddy's fun.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting stuff there. No, I agree with you. It was great. I mean, this was, for all intents and purposes, the Maeve show for the most part. I mean, it was like the Maeve show with the introduction to the Shogun World, but that was like the main focus on everything. I do want to bring up the fact that, Tyler, you were correct. It was her name was Akane, or Akane, or however you pronounce it. I was wrong, but something that I really, really liked, bringing up the parallel things, So they had the parallel between Westworld and Shogun, and they made the comment, but for the what's his name, the narrator guy, the guy who's in charge of the narratives. I always forget his fucking name, but
Is it Lee?
It is Lee. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna get his name one of these days, but I always forget it. I think he's become a great character, but he brings up how it's like, well, we have to borrow from each other. It's just a different environment. Only there's less rules in Shogun World than there are in Westworld. But it was really interesting because the way I interpreted it is it was kind of like a nod to Akira Kurosawa and the parallels between like the Magnificent Seven and Seven Samurai. Because that's literally kind of what was going on there. And that was definitely the vibe I got. And so I thought that was a nice nod at like that whole thing and how like classic Westerns would often borrow from, Japanese cinema in a way, and more specifically, Magnificent Seven and Seven Samurai. So that was something really, really cool that I appreciated. But I think I agree with you guys. I was expecting a lot more from this introduction to Shogun World. I mean, we kind of got to learn the ropes a little bit of what was going on and the the different characters involved, and then kind of Maeve going in and disrupting the flow and being able to take control without saying anything was, I mean, she is going to take over the world. It's just like, I don't even know where they're going to go with her character, but it was all cool stuff. I think my favorite, or to me, other than Maeve, the most interesting part was the Teddy and Dolores stuff. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, and the seeing Teddy at the beginning in that lab, like the first 5 minutes, like his dead, the body. That was, I don't know what that was all about, but it scares me.
Well, I mean, it was a different part of the timeline.
Yeah,
correct?
it
was.
I'm assuming it's the one after we see them all in the lake. Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
We got a little bit more of that. But for me, like the big thing that stand out for me, like looking at Maeve, I mean, she has this fucking Professor X power now to pretty much have these people commit their suicide, which is cool. I like how they were calling her a witch and stuff, how they cut off their ears, how they were adapting.
That was cool.
Like, that's not what they wrote. It's all really cool. And like I said, Shogun, it gave us what we wanted. It was brutal. It was cool. I love the parallels, how they kind of changed the score for what it is in Westworld. They kind of tinkered it a bit for the perfect.
They played the painted black one.
Yeah, they played like the Japanese version of that, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was all great, and I'm just really curious to see where they go with this next, especially with Dolores's and Maeve storyline. They seem to be the two most interesting storylines right now going on in the whole show, and I'm curious to see because obviously Maeve, she's acting on her own. She is growing as not just a host, but as an actual, like, she's getting to that point where she is like a human. Pretty much.
Well, I would say that she's surpassing a human because of the intelligence level and the way she's able to, like she said, she's just hearing a voice, and that voice is like commanding everyone else. And I don't know. It was really, really interesting the way that they kind of have had her evolve, and now it's gotten to the point where like she doesn't have to say anything.
No, and the other thing I like is looking at Dolores is this is where I want to put you. Is she acting on her own, or do you think she's still programmed right now?
Well, we kind of get a little tease for next episode with like with Bernard or Arnold, whichever one it is. And I don't know specifically what's going on, but it's almost like there's something implanted there with her. We'll save that for the predictions episode, but I don't know, man.
I feel like she's still Wyatt. I don't think she's acting on her own. I think she still has this program of
right. I mean, her character is like built out of the two sides of that personality of that person. Like, I mean, she has the half that is Dolores and the half that is Wyatt. And I think for some of the episode, we like, namely like her love for Teddy and stuff like that. That's all the Dolores side, but then the Wyatt side kind of starts to take over. And like her full master plan is and like what we see happen to Teddy, like that's all of Wyatt.
Yeah, that's true. And have you guys recognized how like it feels like all the odd episodes are more like action oriented and not like philosophical like the other ones? Like all the even ones are philosophical, and then all the odd ones are kind of like, so next week, because I mean from the preview, like when we get into it does look like it's going to be more philosophical, go more into this type of stuff.
100%.
Which I think after this episode, it's great for the pacing that they go with for this whole season so far. Again, this season has already surpassed the first one for me.
I would agree. Yeah.
It's every episode has at least been good or great. And that's saying a lot for a show to be able to keep that up. But like, again, I don't think this episode did a lot. It was a lot of just introduction to Shogun. That's a lot of what it was.
Yeah. And I think before I pass it over to you, Tyler, I just want to say that I think this episode delivered in some regards, or in some aspects, but then in others, I thought it was a little mild. Because like you said, there's not really a whole lot going on. Like the big standout things to me is just like Maeve increasingly growing her like abilities and powers is what I'm going to call them, even though it's like kind of her intelligence, but she's basically becoming Professor X, like you said, Zach. And then the encounter between Teddy and Dolores, because Dolores is ultimately going to change him. I thought she was going to flat out kill him, but I don't think she's going to kill him. She's going to rewire him so that he's really not even who he used to be. And that story that she's telling with the analogy of the cattle and how her father burned the ones that
was great.
Like that was probably my favorite moment of the episode was her telling that story and us seeing how Teddy would take care of a situation as opposed to how like Dolores / Wyatt would handle one. And so that was all really, really interesting stuff for me.
Yeah, you're right. It was very tame. Felt very tame. Because like the first, or not last episode, but the episode before last, one of the first introductions we got was, I guess, Musashi charging toward Maeve with the samurai sword, and we were like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
When we get to the Shogun World, this is going to be intense.
Right.
And it was intense, but in a different way.
It was just really violent. I wouldn't even say it was intense. It was just like more violent than usual.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way of putting it. And I guess this means, like Maeve, would she have a doppelganger in the imperialism world? Like
probably.
Where... Probably, right?
See, but I don't know. I don't know how much they're borrowing from Westworld in like every single other world, or whether it was really just like them translating stuff from Westworld into Shogun World.
It's probably here and there, small stuff.
That's kind of the way I was interpreting it, and the way that Lee kind of led on. Which, by the way, Lee steals that like Delos pad out of one of the dead like soldiers. So what do you think he's going to be like trying to do with that? Is he going to try and contact them and have them come in?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's why like where we see I can't even fucking remember. Bernard, where we see him on the beach. I think that's like right when they're storming in. I think that's like from Lee's pulse perspective. But I want to point out also James Marsden. It's gonna be nice to see him kind of like be a kind of bad guy, if that's what Dolores is kind of do with him, like kind of be this like Terminator-esque kind of dude. So it's gonna be nice to see him actually get that, because I've never seen the guy do a kind of role like that. That's the best thing about the show, is that all these characters get different dynamics to beach in each episode at times and throughout the seasons.
Yeah, and I'm always for more Teddy. I mean, like, I think I've said this before in one of the episodes. When I first started Westworld in 2016, I thought the show was going to be, about Evan Rachel Wood and James Marsden, and I was excited to see, Marsden do a big role like this, and it looks like it's getting to the point where he's going to have a really big role.
Especially towards the latter half of this season. They're definitely she's going to be using him as a weapon now because of the complete restructure of his personality.
Yeah, I mean he is, if you restructure him to be that like that, he's a dangerous killing machine. I'll even go when the show, I'll even go with Tyler on that. I mean, when I heard about the show, I knew James Marsden and Anthony Hopkins were in it. Those were the only two actors I recognized.
Really?
And I mean, Jeffrey Wright too, but really out of those two for me were the biggest actors going in. And then I watched it and I was like, damn, James Marsden is like barely in this thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, which is, I guess it's kind of funny now. He's still like very much a side character. But maybe they'll build him up to something or
maybe they'll kill him off.
Maybe they'll kill
Well, we saw his body.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, but okay, but
You
he's
can
like,
rebuild him.
Yeah, you can rebuild him.
rewired and structured and stuff like that. But
Unless it's actually, and if like this whole black mailing thing is real, what if James Marsden is actually in the real world?
like there's a real person.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool parallel. I mean, it's totally like going in. That's like way too fucking much. I don't think that Nolan would ever do that, but
Right.
it's just a fun little theory. And I have to mention, they mentioned the dragon again. I'm sorry, but I have to bring up the dragon again.
You really think there's gonna be some dragon in here?
Dude, I'm telling you.
Show up and
By the end of this whole show, if there's not some weird fucking dragon or dinosaur or some shit that is totally out there, I'm going to be so disappointed.
It would be too obvious.
You know what? I saw Interstellar, so.
Well, that was. I don't know what that has to do with dinosaurs, but
The whole back half of that film
well,
is out there.
Well, yeah, but it was at least in the confines of that film, like it made sense. It didn't just completely go off the rails. Like I don't want to see like a Jurassic Park when in Westworld because it's like why? Like,
Why not?
well, then they have to like genetically engineer dinosaurs. Well, I guess
be robotics.
But yeah, they'd have to be robot. This is really off topic. Wow.
What if
But,
we get like the good dinosaur type shit, like they talk?
why?
Or
Why-
Jurassic
why
Park,
do we need
like
that?
Jurassic Park 3.
No, we
Alan.
definitely we definitely don't need.
No, we're not
Jurassic
talking about
Park
that one.
3. That's just absolutely no. We'll stop there. But here's the other question. So we learned earlier on that the hosts really can't function outside of the park due to their programming. So and that was back, I think towards the tail end of season 1 when Maeve was thinking about leaving the park. So now with her newly found intelligence and like her, evolution that's going on, do you think that once she finds her daughter, she will actually be able to leave the park, or do you still think she's going to be restricted by that in a way?
I think she's gonna leave. I think she's gonna take her daughter. I think that's how plan will probably end up end season, is she will find her daughter and they'll leave.
Yeah, I mean that's a fitting ending for her for sure. What do you think, Tyler?
I would love for that. I would love to see these characters in the real world. I think that'd be very interesting.
Right. Well, we already know that Dolores can go out into the real world. I think she is like the only one or one of the select few that can. And that's like her whole goal right now. And her mission is to like bring the fight to them in the real world in a way. Or at least
with the train and everything, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how they kind of do that, because inside of the park, Maeve is clearly like the alpha. Like she is probably the strongest one in the entire park, even stronger than Dolores, just given her new abilities and the way she's able to control people. But ultimately, can she survive outside the park? And I think that'll be something that they explore later down the road. But before we close this out, just last thoughts across the board. Tyler, we'll start with you.
Yeah, again, really tame episode, but really good episode. I still really liked it. Loved seeing Maeve, explore her new abilities and meet these new characters. Mm-hmm. Dolores, still like that. James Marsden, obviously, I like seeing more of him. And I won't talk too much about next week's episode, but it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting with Dolores. So, good episode.
Yep, for sure. All right, Zach, what are your closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts are, I cannot wait for the next episode, of course, because it's Westworld. It's one of the shows I have to watch like those. And I'm so happy that next Sunday is my vacation, because then I can just watch it right when it comes up and not have to wait after work. Overall, love the episode. Maeve, big standout, my favorite character. Dolores, great stuff there. And I can't wait to see Teddy be the next Terminator.
I really hope that happens. That'll be kind of cool to see, how they take him and how they utilize him. But yeah, I agree. Solid episode. Not one of my favorites, but I did enjoy the introduction to Shogun World. I liked the evolution of Maeve being showcased a little bit. It was refreshing seeing a different culture inside of the show other than just like the Wild West. So I appreciated that. And the newcomers as well. I forget the actors and actresses' names, but I've seen, like, one of them was the girl from Pacific Rim, and she's really, really good. She was yeah. I mean, we didn't even touch on that, but the performances by the Japanese actors and actresses were fantastic. So obviously the Teddy and Dolores stuff, I think that was some of the more juicier interactions in the show. But overall, solid episode. Not one of my favorites, but not every episode can be like the past two. So honestly, the past two episodes have been like the greatest 1-2 punch, like 3 and 4. Awesome stuff. But that is going to do it for this episode of Into the Westworld. Before I close everything else out, I'll give you guys a chance to plug yourself. So Tyler and Zach, where can everyone find you? Starting with Zach.
So you guys can find me on YouTube, of course, at Zach Pope Reviews, Twitter at Pope the King. Come over and talk. We'll talk anything you guys want to. Just if you go to my Han Solo review and fucking make some stupid fucking toxic comment, fuck you. Tired of getting that shit every day.
You've been having a lot of issues with that,
dude.
recently.
It is like every single day, one after another, and it's just like now I stopped replying back. But I mean, at first I was just going fun with it.
The trolls, man.
Trolls.
Don't feed the trolls. All right, Tyler, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and now Zach's comment section on Solo. I will definitely be there. But no, I'm just happy I made it. I'm happy I'm still here. Can't wait to talk about next week's episode. Should be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm really happy your Wi-Fi didn't lag out for the 4th time. So
thank God.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can always give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. Be sure to head on over to iTunes if you want the audio only version of this show and subscribe to the feed there. That way you'll get all of the new episodes automatically downloaded to your mobile device. Also, be sure to leave us a rating and a review. It greatly helps us out, helps get the show noticed, and we love hearing from you guys, hearing your feedback. Are we doing a good job? Do we suck? I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below of wherever you're watching or listening to this, or in the ratings review section of iTunes. You can also like Men vs. Movies on Facebook and follow Men vs. Movies on Twitter simply by searching Men vs. Movies, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more entertainment, TV, podcast content, you name it, it's all there. We got you. So until next time, guys, take care.